Hello, it is me, the Political Kid, and today we're going to be talking about why Republicans still do have an advantage when it comes to the 2028 election. Now, this has been a very contentious thing that has been going on due to the fact that it's still 2 years away, and we don't exactly know who will be the nominee, especially for the Democratic Party, but we do have two possible nominees for the Republican Party, and this is probably why Republicans have an advantage in the 2028 election. Now, they will have a very uphill climb due to the fact that they have a very unpopular president who will most likely not get that much popular since he has been in so many wars, so many scandals, and the fact that people are just generally tired of his sort of politics. So, due to this arrangement that's been going on, Republicans will have to explain why they should be in office for another 4 years. So, how could they win? Well, Marco Rubio and JD Vance are the possible nominees for the 2028 Republican nomination, but let's be honest, it's most likely going to be JD Vance due to the fact that in recent decades, the vice president has been the sort of presumptive nominee for presidents who have served 2 terms. So, due to this, there will most likely be a very populist conservative in the Republican nomination and not a moderate but interventionist like Marco Rubio, who would appeal to more moderates and wouldn't be as tied to the Trump administration, even though he is in the Trump administration. It's just that people don't know him as much as JD Vance, which could help him in the nomination. However, just name recognition alone is a very good factor when it comes to presidential campaigns, primaries, and elections. So, I mean, they're unpopular, so isn't it easy for Democrats to win the 2028 election? No. And it's because just because Republicans are unpopular doesn't mean that Democrats are popular. It's a very biased kind of way to think about it because when you say, hey, this product isn't doing good, therefore our competitor must be doing good. No, I mean, maybe both of you are doing bad, which is kind of a thing that is happening within the politics of the American, like, politics. And due to this fact, it isn't sure we aren't sure who the Democratic nominee will be. Many have proposed Harris, Gavin Newsom, Shapiro, but there's many possible nominees due to the fact that most of these guys are unpopular and popular in their own ways, and it's going to be a very contentious primary due to the fact that there has been so many governors, especially governors, considering that they want to move to a more state and local level, the Democratic Party, but there's still many like the classic California liberal like kind of establishment who still want to have some sort of influence within the Democratic Party, so there most likely be a Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom like campaign within the Democratic Party primaries. So it's still contentious who will win the primaries, so Republicans will have extra time to campaign for the general election. There'll be maybe less people not willing to vote for Republicans since if you like remember 2012, I know most people watching me were not able to actually vote in 2012. I mean, especially me since I was so young, but regardless, when the Republican nominee Mitt Romney won the 2012 Republican nomination, Ron Paul and his very libertarian supporters thought, hey, this is kind of rigged. in its own way, and Ron Paul should be the nominee due to the fact that the National Conservatives have lost again and again and again. So we should be the nominee instead of these Mitt Romney guys. So they kind of walked out, didn't actually confirm Mitt Romney as their candidate, and it hurt him. I mean, they didn't vote for Obama, but a lot of them didn't vote or voted for libertarians. And this could be a potential thing within the Democratic Party, but for different circumstances. Maybe even the Green Party could gain from this. So, due to this, what can we conclude? Well, we could say that Republicans will have an easier time figuring out who their nominee will be, and therefore, again, they'll get more opportunities to campaign, enough time to kind of distance themselves from the Trump administration, and they'll also have enough time to attack the whole Democratic field. This is a good thing for Republicans, considering that this has worked in the past. I mean, John McCain had a lot of ammunition since he had a lot of momentum coming into the Republican primaries in 2008. And then when he got the nomination, the deadlock primaries of the Democrats between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, he had a lot of time to distance himself from the Bush administration and enough time to moderate himself to seem as the better candidate. Obviously, he lost big time because the Bush administration was in the same place that the Trump administration could be in, but it's different due to the fact that politics are so polarized now. Republicans could use this even more to their advantage and do even better than John McCain would have. So we could safely say that if there isn't a contentious primary, and the Democrats will still be stuck in a situation where they have to figure out who the figurehead of the Democratic Party is, then Republicans will be able to bounce back, have some leverage within the election, able to use their resources carefully to not make the two groups of the moderates and the more conservative faction of the Republican primary, they could get them to their side by attacking the Democratic Party. They could say that they're very divided, and that could hurt the American system if a, say, socialist was elected, even though there's probably not going to be a socialist as the Democratic Party nominee. So they will still have opportunities to claim that like they have before in some more far-right circles, but it works, especially for certain voters in certain areas. Therefore, I think you know where I'm going with this. Republicans will still, again, have an uphill battle, and we are not sure what could happen in the future if the Republicans were still able to get a term. They will most likely not have full support, and their poll numbers will still be in the drain somewhat because American politics is very disapproving of the current incumbent for the past 2 decades, but it's still another 4 years that the Republicans could get, and it's very convenient considering that this is the break between the 2030 census, which could benefit Republican-leaning states. So if, say, J.D. Vance won in 2028, or Marco Rubio even, it doesn't really matter. Whoever wins will have an even easier time in the 2032 election if they want to run for re-election, since, say, Florida gets more votes, since there's a lot more people in Florida, Texas, a very Republican-leaning state, and then eventually you'll see what's going on. Democrats will have less electoral votes as a base set, since the blue wall will kind of decrease in value over time due to the fact that many Americans, for mostly economic reasons, are leaving more Democratic heavy leaning states. So I don't want to seem very biased, because that's kind of the point of this whole channel, but I will say that Republicans have basically one chance, so they better use it well. So that's going to be it, guys. I hope I kind of explained why Republicans still have a chance of winning in 2028 and why they could and how they could use it correctly. But again, I'm just a kid, so if I do seem biased, I'm sorry, and I do make some mistakes sometimes. So, hey, this could be aging like milk for all we know, but this is just my opinions. I'm a political kid, and I'm out.